morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. We really have. Friends of the show, Alan Jones and Russell Watson will be here. They'll be dropping by to help kick off the festive season. Friday night feast star Jimmy Doherty will be here for the first time. He's coming down to Hampshire for a Saturday morning banquet. And my old mate, Ready Steady Cook star Lesley Waters will be here as well. And we should be dropping by to cook a classic beef daw. But don't miss this week's Little Masterclass, when I'll be teaching you everything you ever want to know about chestnuts, because they're banging season right now. And me and my old mate Gareth Ward will be taking my Mini and swapping it for something more powerful for a spin on a food adventure to North Wales. But first, I'm here with a chef who lives so close that 5 minutes ago he was in his pyjamas because he sent me a picture. It's my local pub landlord, Lenny Carr-Roberts. We shan't even go there without photographs as well. Welcome back. Welcome to the house. You're always here anyway.
I love it here, mate.
Either I'm at yours or you're here.
This is the way forward. It's either you or the crew.
Exactly. So what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing for us?
Today I'm cooking like a mussel mouclard for you later, which is one of our sort of
winter. Fancy.
Well, it sounds like that, but do you know what? As a pub dish, it's fantastic because we sort of bulk it out a little bit with potato and cucumber and celery and put a lovely bit of John Dory, pan-fried John Dory on top, and I think you're going to love it.
John Dory is Saint-Pierre, it's called, isn't it? Patron saint of fishermen. That's what it was named after, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you pick it up, it's got two little black spots.
Exactly, two black spots on the side of the fish, but a really good fish. Bit of a pain to fill it, but all right.
I know, I reckon I'm going to be doing that, exactly. But anyway, we're kicking things off today with something a little bit more easier. It's my twist on an all-time classic, really. It's sticky toffee pudding. Now, I know you love sticky toffee pudding.
I've done this recipe.
You've done this recipe. He's nicked the recipe. But use your sticky toffee pudding. This is where the history of it sort of varies. I mean, probably the most famous sticky toffee pudding, certainly in the UK, probably comes from the Sharrow Bay. Exactly. Francis Brian Coulson had this amazing hotel called the Sharrow Bay in the Lake District, and they were said to have got the recipe from the Canadian Army, that kind of stuff, and friend of the friend, and that's where it originally. So I think it comes from Canada. I'm going to upset a lot of people in the UK, but I think it does with the dates. We don't grow many dates in the UK, so
we don't.
I'm pretty sure it comes from that neck of the woods. So we got wonderful dates, butter, sugar. I use soft brown sugar for this rather than demerara. A few eggs. We got some golden syrup, black treacle, a little bit of flour, and some baking powder. But the key to this is the liquid side of it. Now I'm going to use water, but also I'm going to use some beer. Because you're here.
Yeah.
Not because you're here as well, because we're going to find out where this amazing beer comes from. But I'm going to give you a little taster of this one, first of all. Look at the colour.
Oh, that's rich, isn't it?
Yeah, look at the colour of this. I'm going to get the name of it in a minute. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the beer and then use one third. I need to put my glasses on for this, because this is. I need to get this right. So we want about 290 mils to be exact, which is just the head of that in the 300 bit. So that goes into there. And I use a mixture of 2/3 beer, 1/3 water, rather than it being too strong. The dates are obviously pitted. They're going to go into here. And then we add our liquid over the top. Now, what you want to do is you want to bring this to not to a boil, but you want to bring this and warm this through. While that's happening, we can add a little bit of butter and sugar to our little mixture over here, together with where I get the sticky. So that you got the soft brown sugar with the butter, and then I take a good squeeze of golden syrup and black treacle. Now, the great thing about this, you can make this in advance, because sticky toffee pudding, as you know, freezes brilliantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. We make this, 2 days in advance, and it's just, you warm it up, it's like it's brand new.
But the great thing about this is you can take it and you can just pop it in the freezer and microwave it from frozen as well. So, little tip, really, when you're doing this, rather than everybody puts a cold spoon in it, the idea is you put a warm spoon in it, so when you scoop this all out,
it falls off.
It falls off your spoon. Look, it's a lot easier. So that goes into there. And then we're going to use that to make a sauce with it. But you just want to warm this up. Like I said, what you don't want to be doing is boiling this rapidly. So as soon as you warm it up, we then switch this off now, and this is going to soften our dates. That's the most important bit. So that's going to go in there. I'm going to fire up this machine, and hopefully, on a screen that's just a little below me, I can introduce the two people involved in all this amazing beer over here. So let's go up the road to Caversham. You're that way. We're going that way, near Reading, to meet owner Lucy and Mike Clayton-Jones from the Double Barrel Brewery Company. I can see that. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Morning. Good morning. Thank you for being a part of this as well. We're already. I love this.
Yeah.
This beer at this time in the morning, it's fantastic, isn't it? Really. So we're about to have a taste of the different beers you got in there. But you guys have got a fascinating story. It all started. You weren't involved in in brewing and bits and pieces. Tell us what you were doing before all this.
So my background, sort of food and drink marketing. So I always worked in sort of product. Mike's background is was operational side of things, so working as a consultant. But Mike was a really keen home brewer and sort of is very passion-led, I think, as a person, a hobbyist, we might say.
Well, we're going to get on and talk about the beers in a minute. We're going to taste this one first of all. So the one that I'm making with, this is right up my street, really, because I'm going to use this in the pudding as well. Your names for this are fantastic. Have you heard about the Brindle Whippet? Where did that come from?
That's lovely.
A lot of our beer names are really about what's in front of us at the time that we're coming up with a beer concept or anything like that. But specifically this one, the Brindle Whippet in question and on the can actually belongs to our production manager, Jim. And she's, well, absolutely adorable, but also loves posing for photos, as you can see on the can art.
Yeah.
It's a blend of 14, I think, or 12 different malts we used in the end for it. So it's American kind of style of porter. So slightly more rich than your maybe sort of classic porters, but it's why it will work something like really well, I think, in this sticky toffee pudding.
Well, it is. We're just about to make it now, so I'm just going to recap for people exactly how you make this sticky toffee pudding, because they'll be interested to see how you make it. So the mixture over here. Now, when you put the eggs in it, it can split. It looks like that. Don't worry about it, because everybody panics and then it's got to be smooth.
It's fine.
Just that's fine like that. What you want to do now is you want to take a little blender. It's a good idea to use one of these little stick blenders. But what you want to do is you want to blend this combination of the beer and the dates. And what this will do is just take it to a little puree. So just give it a good blend like that. Now, it's a good idea to keep this still warm. So when you do this, you almost need all your ingredients ready. So don't do this, allow this mixture to go cold. Do it while it's still warm, because I class this as a warm cake method. So you want to mix it all in, and it actually rises at the same time. So once we've got that, I'll just show you how it all comes together. We've got a tin here. Need to get that ready. The tin, I've just got a little bit of paper. You cut little slices out of it like this on the edge. So when you pop it into the tin, like that, it fits in the tin nicely into the corners. I've buttered it like that, but that's going to slot in there. You can see the edges just fit in there nicely like that. So you don't get too many creases. That's what you want. So once that's in, like that, then what you want to do is you take your mixture. You've got everything ready. So we've got our flour, we've got our baking powder, bicarb soda, all this ready. And then very, very quickly, you add our bicarb soda into this. Now, the minute you add bicarb soda to this, it starts to work. So we throw all that in, and we throw all the flour in. And we just chuck all of it all in together, the whole lot, like that. Get yourself a whisk and mix this all together. I'm pretty sure this is the way you do it.
It is, yeah.
But
great recipe, this.
It is a great recipe, isn't it? But you just mix it. But the recipe varies, obviously, all over. People make it with dates. They're making it with prunes and that kind of stuff as well. But you just mix all that together. It's brilliant with figs as well, by the way. You just do this. Mix it all together so you get it all off the bottom. And then you pour it into our tray. Now, well, because you've had the bicarb soda in, as you all know, you want to be quite quick with this because the cake is actually starting to rise up. You can probably see it. Look at it already in the tin. It's starting to rise up. So what we want to do is then put the oven about sort of 160, 170. And this is going to take, depending on the thickness of it, it's going to take between 30 and 40 minutes to cook. So that's going to go straight in the oven. That's already using one of your beers. But guys, I want to talk to you about the other beers that we've got over here. So tell us about your most popular, because we've got these two over here. There's one in a blue can and one in a slightly sort of a dark grey can.
Yeah, so we brew two beers year-round for our core range. So the one that you've got there in blue, that's called Ding. It's a Keller lager,
right?
Which, to differentiate it from a sort of mass-produced lager that you find in all over the place, really it's the Keller aspect of it means it's come traditionally straight from the cellar, which really means we've taken nothing away from it. We've not filtered it. We've not pasteurized it. It is, exactly as it's come out of the tank.
But give us this is also another one. Where's the Carr one? A car as big as a whale. We're trying that one, if that's right. Who thinks about these names? Because the names are ace, by the way. Whose decision is that?
It's a bit of a team effort, really. So yeah, it's sort of kind of what inspires us at the time. This one in particular, so this was a collaboration brew with Coronado Brewing, who are a really well-established brewery based over in San Diego. And whilst we had them over in the brewery to brew this beer, Love Shack, the classic song came on.
Beautiful.
And they sort of were regaling quite hilarious tales around what Love Shack as a song meant to them. So we used a lyric from that song. So that's where that one comes from. And we worked with a small agency down in Falmouth who kind of take our ideas and create them into these wonderful labels.
It's brilliant. Well, I know as a landlord, you're seeing a change in customer taste, aren't you? Really?
I wanted to ask you a question because I've seen in my pubs this sort of shift with ladies drinking more of the pale ales and these sort of IPAs. Have you seen that, obviously, from the brewing side?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've always had the kind of mantra that, beer is for everybody. I always think about it that people don't tend to sort of gender stereotype food, but they do with drink. And obviously, as a lady who loves beer, it was always quite important to sort of open up the beer industry to everyone and everything we brew. So it's open for all, and we definitely get a very diverse audience down at our tap room as well, which is lovely.
So just generalise the process. How long does it take? Because the stuff that you're producing at home is slightly different to what you're producing behind you. You've got these amazing vats behind you. How long does it take for you to go? Because you're doing this twice a day, are you? You're brewing twice a day. How long does it take from A to B to get the end product? Just give us a rough insight. How do we produce this?
For something like that, it would be typically a 3-week, maybe 3.5-week process from start to finish. But all the action tends to take place on day one. So the brew day, where we're actually producing a sweet liquid that we can then allow yeast to ferment, and then that fermentation process takes between 7 and 14 days, and then we've got a conditioning time as well.
The taste is unbelievable.
That one especially, hoppy.
The last one, really, really hoppy. It's amazing the difference in flavour in all of them. I mean, colour, obviously, with the ales and the lagers, but the last one, that hoppy sort of...
That first one, though, perfect for sticky toffee pudding. Rich.
Yeah. So where do you see the business going? What's the next plan? Are you going to take over the world? What are you doing next?
Not quite take over the world, but we'd love to see, our beer sort of available more widely. I think our dream is that, people want that, that 6-pack of Ding, 6-pack of Parker, in their fridge, as well as sort of experimenting with our specials when it's sort of seasonal time. So, we're only just starting on our journey, really. So, we've got quite the adventure to come, I think.
Well, guys, I wish you all the very best with it. It's an amazing story, and great that it started out, what was in your garage with an idea, and it goes to show with many businesses, the reason why there's success is because you've got a passion for it as well. But I wish you all the very best. It shows in the end product as well. The names are brilliant. Beer. I think the design of the can's brilliant, but most importantly, the stuff that's inside is fantastic. So thank you for being a part of this, and best of luck with everything.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, so we've got our beer sticky toffee pudding, which I think might be on a certain menu shortly. But when you taste this, we've got our beer sticky toffee pudding sauce, which is butter, cream. There's no such version of a low-fat sauce in it. You've just got to go the full 9 yards, haven't you, really? But we've got butter, we've got cream, we've got golden syrup, we've got black treacle, and we've got a little bit of that beer in there as well. And then, I don't know about you, but we either serve this with ice cream or clotted cream, or both.
Or both, yeah, for me, it's both.
But I thought I'm just going to put a nice little bit of clotted cream with this. And there we have it. My version of a beer sticky toffee pudding with clotted cream.
Well done, mate.
Easy as that.
I really like
Done.
That. Very, very good.
Well, I don't know why I'm giving you this, because you got it on the menu anyway.
I have got this on the menu. Yeah, but this is a James Martin recipe, cooked by James Martin.
Well, I don't know about this. This is it's a nice sticky toffee pudding there.
I've never done it with a beer, though, so...
Yeah, the beer, you can it's good.
Oh, mate, that's done divine, isn't it?
Good, isn't it? You can have that one. It'll be on tonight. Yeah,
I'll be
around later for a second helping of it, yeah. Right, still to come, we've got dishes from Lenny, of course, and my old friend Lesley Waters will be joining me in the kitchen with Aled Jones and Russell Watson very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, I'm off to North Wales and another one of my food adventures. I'll see you in a bit. This is proper.
Delicious.
Proper. Welcome back. Now, there's a masterclass in chestnuts coming your way a little bit later, and I'll be serving up Asian tempura monkfish and steak for my guests, Aled Jones and Russell Watson. OK, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite ever food adventures, and this one really, really is. As this week, I'm off to North Wales with a great mate and one of the UK's best chefs, Mr. Gareth Ward, where we're swapping my Mini for something a little bit more powerful. Enjoy this one. Welcome back to my Islands to Highlands adventure. I'm in mid-Wales with a Michelin-starred chef who also happens to be my buddy, Gareth Ward. See, everybody needs a Mini in their life.
You know what, I think if you donate one to me, I'll have one. I'll look after it for you.
Yeah, I bet you will. Yeah. There's so much to see here, so we're splitting up again. I'm going to take in some of the finest scenery Wales has to offer with my bestest of best mates, Cooper. Chilled out, isn't it, Coops? While I treat Gareth to a sightseeing trip he won't forget in a hurry. Ow, I bet that hurt. Now, this track at Owen Forest is used for the British GB Rally Championships. It's tricky to navigate, so not for the faint-hearted.
Dusty, chef.
You look a bit snug in there.
Oh, I'm very snug.
What was he like as co-driver?
It was amazing.
Were you squealing a bit?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm a little bit deaf now, but it's all fine.
You're a little bit deaf? Your ears are aching.
I'm like a sardine. Now I know what it feels like.
You enjoyed it?
I love it, mate. Thank you very much.
Anyway, I'll leave you for about 4 hours to get out.
Oh, cheers, chef. Thanks for that. You can always give me a hand.
Do you know what? I'll leave you to it. I've got some cooking to do, and I've found the perfect place for my mobile kitchen. It's times like this when you want to burst into song, really. The hills are alive. Well, actually, they're not alive. They're actually over here on a table. Now, for my final dish, this is going to be fabulous. It's a bacon and cockle Welsh rarebit. And I'm going to utilise this bacon. Look at this. Proper bacon. I haven't seen this since I was a young kid. You've got the belly, which is what you want here, and then the back, which is what you want here. We're just going to take our bacon and just pop it in our dish. With a little bit of butter, just a touch, just a few bits of butter. I'm going to take the bacon and pop it into the oven. Because everybody cooks on the side of a Welsh hill that's got an oven like this, on an old barrel in an apple orchard. While that's happening, turn my attention to the rarebit. The whole point about rarebit is great quality Welsh cheese. Now, because of this stuff, this stuff here, you have amazing dairy and pasture around here. Because of that, you have amazing cheese. Then what I'm going to do is grab our cheese and grate this. The thing about Welsh rarebit, you can make it in advance. You don't need to make it as and when you want it, because this in the fridge is amazing. It's a nice little brunch dish, a little bit of breakfast. Lose this out of the way. Now, pop our cheese into our pan. What you can do is you flavour this. I'm going to use a touch of my beer, only a little bit, because this is good beer. We're going to supplement the rest with a bit of milk. Just a touch of milk. And then, really, to give this a nice kick, you've got some Worcester sauce, bit of Tabasco, as hot as you want, and then English mustard. One of the few times, really, I actually use English mustard. And then on the heat. Now, the key to a rare bit is whatever you do, don't boil it, because otherwise the fats from the cheese separate and you'll end up with sort of this gooey mess, this split mixture that looks like a separated dressing, really, where the fats actually separate from the cheese. So while that's happening, a bit of salt and pepper, black pepper, and a pinch of salt. So we're nearly there with this cheese. Now, so often with Welsh rarebit, you can have this on toast, and sure enough, you can. But literally, if you've just popped this on toast, it's just going to fall off. So what you do is you thicken this up slightly. You just need a little bit of flour, just some plain flour. And as it starts to heat up, but not boil, this is when we add a little bit of flour. Now, just enough to hold this together. So keep it on the heat. So just mix this all together. You can see now, it's just nicely starting to thicken up. Like that. Perfect. Now, because I'm going to put this back in the oven just to colour nicely, I'm going to flavour this with some eggs. Now, you can either use whole eggs or egg yolks. It's entirely up to you. Probably 3 in this. And then mix the egg yolks in. You can have a quick taste. Just tastes amazing. But we've got our bacon. Oh, look at that. And then I'm going to use some cockles. Look, you've got some amazing cockles. And we can take this and pour our cheese over the top. And then simply take the whole lot and put it back in the oven. Now, if it's hot like this, a grill at home would be ideal. On a grassy knoll, this is as good as it gets. I'm going to leave that to cook for about 5 minutes, which gives us enough time to make our chutney. Yes, I'm actually going to do chutney with this, because this is fabulous. Starts off in the pan just with some sugar. And what you want to do is caramelise the sugar. At the same time of caramelising the sugar, you add your sultanas, because you want these to puff up. Now, while that's caramelising in there, I can take a little bit of shallot and chop this up. But this is the boring bit of TV, so while I'm doing that, the director will cut to a nice shot of countryside. I'll see you in a bit. So you can see now these start to caramelise in here. They start to toffee up. Bit of white wine vinegar in the pan. Take your tomatoes, your onions, a bit of tarragon, just a touch, salt, pepper. Cook this for about 2 or 3 minutes. So meanwhile, cheers to me! You wouldn't believe this. 10 minutes ago, I was reading the instruction kit of how to use that. Look at that. Nice. Now, your chutney should be cooked as the tomatoes start to soften up. But that, with a bit of white wine vinegar, is not bad. Grab myself a spoon. Just take our nice dollop of chutney. Now, you can thicken this up if you want, cook it for a little bit longer, but is there any need, really? Because when you've got it with this, you want all the nice fresh flavours with the cockles, the bacon, the nice sweet, the nice sour of the chutney. There is no finer dish on a hillside in Wales, right at this moment in time, than that. Quite happy with that. Don't normally do this on TV, but...
And there is my decadent take on a Welsh rarebit. A feast in a pan.
I love that area of Wales. It really is spectacular. Right, still to come, I'll be giving you a masterclass in chestnuts, and my local pub landlord, Lenny Carr-Roberts, will be here from just over the fields over there. He'll be taking over the kitchen very shortly, and I'll see you back here after the break when I'll be treating Aled Jones and Russell Watson to an amazing dish of monkfish and another dish of steak with a Japanese twist. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Coming up, we'll be teaching you all about chestnuts in this week's masterclass and what to do with them. And Lesley Waters will be serving up a classic winter warmer. But first, I'm here with an iconic musical duo who, between them, have sold a staggering 15 million albums in the course of their careers. It's Mr. Alec Jones and Russell Watson.
Thank you very much.
What's the level? Where are we? The 15 million. Where are we?
We're about the same, aren't we?
We are actually.
You are leveled up.
I thought he was going to say 14 million 1 year.
No.
I was going to say that.
I checked you were about the same, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Amazing,
We're about
really.
the same, yeah.
So where does this friendship come from? Because I'm going to do your nice little. I know you love your food. We're going to go to sort of Japanesey sort of style with this. We're going to do a deep fried little bit of monkfish because I know you love your fish. We've got a lovely bit of steak, and I'm going to make a nice little dressing for this. But where does the friendship? Because you are good mates. Where does that come from?
Well, we first met 22 years ago, didn't we?
We were young boys. We were.
Yes, we
It was
were.
the Albert Hall.
Was it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were both doing a charity concert there, and back in the day when we started, there weren't a lot of people doing the music that we were doing, and so we hit it off, and then you just bumped into each other.
Yeah, but when it was funny because when you have a preconception of someone, because I'd always seen him as this lovely, innocent choir boy, but he's actually really good fun.
Thanks.
Well, it was a compliment.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, backhanded, but I'll take it.
But Alan, things happened for you very, very young. How do you cope with that, really? Or are you in a bubble that you just think, what on earth is going on? So I was reading loads of stuff about you yesterday in terms of where you'd been and travelled and stuff like that. I mean, you told, was it 6 million albums?
I'm still in therapy. That's basically it.
But it's 6 million albums before you were 16?
Yeah. A lot of that in Japan as well.
Before you were 16?
Yeah. It was amazing. I was really lucky. I had 4 years as a kid, and in those 4 years, no one knew what they were doing because no one had done this music before. Yeah. So it was either me or Pavarotti, really. And I remember signing to Virgin Records and Richard Branson going, I haven't got a clue how we're going to sell your music, so we'll just sell it like rock music. And that's what they did, So it was 4 mad years, and then, of course, the inevitable voice break unless you get a very uncomfortable operation, which was threatened on me quite a few times.
but both of you not professionally trained as such, because Russell, you were working you were working in industry.
I was working Wickman multi-spindle lathes in a factory doing 12-hour night shifts, basically making nuts and bolts. It's funny because I was talking to you about it before. I can't believe, sometimes I look at myself and think, how on earth did I get from that point in my life?
It's interesting to talk about because a lot of people, in the music industry predominantly, people just think it's superstar fame. You've got to go on a TV programme, but
I suppose it's easy to get there, but it's keeping it going, which is hard in the music
you guys
industry.
have managed to keep that going. So what is the?
I saw an article. It was a big middle-page spread. I think it was the Daily Mirror, and by the time I'd kind of reached, by the time I'd got the fame and was selling records, I'd spent 10 years in the backstreet working men's clubs of the Northwest.
Yeah.
And so by the time I kind of hit in 2000 and everything kind of went crazy, I'd literally had 10 years doing the clubs.
What made it go crazy?
Well, there was I remember this big spread in the paper and it said, overnight success, Russell Watson. I remember thinking, that was a long night, it was 10 years.
Yeah, same here. I sang in a choir, didn't I, for years and years before doing the records, But I think it's a fluke plays a lot in it as well, being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, you say that fluke's the right place at the right time, but you have to make your own luck. There's all very well getting in that right place, but you've got to be able to do the job that you do.
And you've got to work hard. Yeah, that's the thing. We both work hard. We don't just kind of turn up and do a tour or something like that without rehearsing and choosing carefully what we do. So yeah, it's not a case of just turning up and doing it. It's hard work.
You do 90% of it yourself, don't you? You've got to drive the machine, or
it'll even still now, or is it?
Yeah.
More so now.
100%. I do his makeup before the tour.
You do, and I iron his clothes.
We really are a married couple.
So tell us about this, because this is the album.
Yeah.
It's 3 years since we saw you back here at the house. Unbelievable. It's been 3 years since then.
And we're still doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But I was reading about you in terms of who selects the songs, because you've both got sort of different opinions in terms of what songs to put on. You like the sort of the
mainstream stuff.
The mainstream.
I liked a lot of the hymns and the more classical repertoire.
And so we have a mixture of both, don't we?
Yeah.
The record company might suggest a few which we forget.
We generally don't do.
No, we're not doing that one.
Nah.
But this album is a real mix. So you've got the carols and stuff, but again, harmonies all the way through. And then we've got the traditional stuff, like it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas and Spaceman.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the traditional stuff, we have a clip with the stereotypical Christmas tree.
Oh.
And apparently you two are in it. I haven't seen you, Alan, in this shot yet, but we're about to see you, Russell. But anyway, just check this out.
good.
Check this out. We'll leave your mics up so you can explain what's happening. Off we
Okay.
go.
It's beginning to look a lot like
That's
Christmas.
more cheese than you've ever had in this kitchen.
Everywhere you go,
I like it.
take a look at the
I've got grey hair.
I know.
It's glistening
Oh
once
my God,
again
I've never seen that.
with candy canes and silver lace aglow.
You watch in a minute, I throw a peanut at it.
Beginning to look a
I don't think
lot
anyone
like
spotted it, but I throw a
Christmas.
peanut and it lands on his arm.
Is that in?
Yeah,
Well, it was last time I saw it.
But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front
Oh my God.
door.
I like it.
A pair of
Watch.
hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots as a wish of Barney and
Watch.
Ben.
Here comes the nuts.
Dolls that'll talk and we'll go for a walk as the hope with Janice and Ken. And Mom and Dad can
It's on your arm.
hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Wow. Balduni can eat your heart out.
They're off thing. It's better with the voiceover. It's better with.
It's better with a glass of wine.
I need another.
I want to talk to you about Alan, particularly because a little rumour is that you're going to tour in a motorhome. Now, I'm a motorhome fanatic.
Oh, are you?
And apparently you're going to take a motorhome and go on tour.
Well, if it doesn't happen in the UK one, I haven't started it yet with the motorhome, but we are definitely going to do Australia in a motorhome together.
Together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a laugh, I
Called
think.
Eric and Ernie live in Australia. Or is it Bert and Ernie?
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
not sure.
Bert and Ernie, the
Bert and
Muppets.
Ernie.
But yeah, I quite fancy it because, I don't know, you tell me, is it good?
It's motorhomes. I've been involved in motorhomes, well, for the last 15 years.
You've probably got one, haven't you?
I've got one. It's
Oh,
outside.
I can
yeah.
borrow it then.
I'll show you around
All right.
afterwards. I'll show you around. You're not borrowing it because I know what he's like.
No, he'll drive.
No chance.
I'll do the ironing and cook the food.
So look, we've got our nice little dressing over here. So this is about to be ready to be plated up. I've got my leeks done. I've got my fish cooked. I've got my steak done. It's all there ready. This is the dressing. This is the sort of the yuzu-y sort of ponzu thing which we make. And then what I want to do is give you a little bit of this. So you've got a spoon there.
Yeah.
I just want you to taste a little bit of this because we take these little things that I find on my travels. So this is called shiitake mushroom ponzu. You can buy this online.
Oh, my God. Oh, my... That is amazing. The tang you get afterwards.
Ooh, goodness me.
There's something else, isn't it?
Can I have a look at it? Where do you get it from?
That you can look at it online. It's you can get it. It's just, to me,
That's so nice.
It's so what it means is you just get a very, very simple dressing, very, very quickly done.
It went off last year, though.
Yeah, it did. So we got.
You like? You won't get invited back.
Yeah, like two kids, aren't they? Look, you just to get them in here. Just behave yourself. Look.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right, look, we're just going to take out our nice little dressing. So this is
Got it in my pocket.
yeah, pocket. And we just take a little bit of this on here. And so this is the steak bit. So it's the same dressing. Now this as well, you can taste this. This is yuzu juice. I've just put that a little bit of that on your teaspoon. Have a taste of this because this is. I've cooked with this quite a lot on the show before, but I urge people to sort of try and get hold of it because it's absolutely delicious.
Yuzu.
Yeah, it's yuzu. It's a type of. Well, if you've been to Japan, you'll probably witness this because it's a little sort of citrus.
Thanks, mate.
Yuzu.
Fruit, but it's absolutely delicious. So with this one, we're going to take our
It's all right. Nothing new.
yuzu dressing,
Oh, wow.
which sits on there.
Very citrusy, isn't it?
Really citrusy,
Blimey.
really pungent, really citrusy. That goes on there. We've got our deep-fried little bit of fish,
Yeah.
which sits on there. We then dress this. We've got a little bit of baby coriander. This sits on here. This
Do you
stuff's
grow
called-
your own stuff?
Yeah, this is called red amaranth. You can grow this in your greenhouse. So you can grow it. It takes about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to grow. Grows it on tissue paper, like you used to grow mustard cress when you were a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. And again, a little bit of this herb oil. But there you have 2 dishes, a little bit of beef, and a little bit of monkfish.
You should do this for a living.
I do try. Easy as that. Gents, there you have your steak first.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Your first course. Your second course is coming straight in afterwards, but dive into that as well. I'm
Right.
just going to finish that off with a little bit of lime.
Mummy.
I like the Sprouts napkin.
You like the Sprouts napkin? On point, you see?
Yeah.
That's better, I don't know.
That's
Sprouts are one of the favourite things about Christmas for me. It's the only time of year my wife allows me to eat them.
Is it?
Yeah.
Look,
for obvious
Mate, that
reasons.
is so amazing. Oh,
I'm available for tour catering if you want. You know, I can travel around.
that's phenomenal.
Oh, blimey.
There you go. Right, I'll be cooking the second course for Alan and Russell at the end of the show. I think they're quite happy with that.
Oh, so good.
And Jimmy Doherty will be pulling a stool up to the kitchen very shortly. But join us again after the break when my local pub landlord, Lenny Carr-Roberts, will be serving an incredible fish dish as well. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, this week's masterclass is all about chestnuts, and top TV farmer Jimmy Doherty will be tucking in to a very indulgent dessert. That's coming up next. But first, he's got 2 pubs, a fish and chip shop, and there's a good chance you'll find me or the crew in one of them, if not all 3 at some point. He's just down the road from here. It's Mr. Lenny Carr-Roberts.
Thank you ever so much.
They're all applauding because
Thanks, James.
they like to get a table in your place. What are you going to be doing for us then?
Right, we're going to do a dish which is always on the menu at both the pubs, which is it's like a lovely piece of white fish with a mussel mouclard underneath.
That sounds very fancy.
It sounds fancy, but as I hope
Lesley's here. She's chuckling away to herself.
But I hope everyone at home will try this dish because it's actually really simple.
Right. Okay. So
First
mussels first of all.
First of all, so in with the mussels.
Yeah.
Lovely mussels. A lot of heat, please, James, and about 250 ml of wine.
Right.
We're going to use this juice as well in the sauce afterwards.
So they'll heat up. Now, tell us about the John Dory, because we're going to get this slowly firing away. Tell me about the John Dory.
Lovely fish, king of the sea, as they call it. We use a lot of it, I have to say, because it's a really meaty fish. Bit of a pain to fill it, but once you've done
I
it,
filleted
great.
this, by the way, earlier, because I wasn't going to do this on camera. But you get it a lot in France, don't you?
Yeah.
Saint-Pierre.
Saint-Pierre, the sort of marks as you pick it out of the sea.
There's the little one of the marks there.
The thumb mark. Yeah.
There's the little thumb marks.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's named after the patron saint of fishermen.
That's right.
Yeah, there's the nice little...
But a lovely bit of fish. And really meaty fish as well. Almost like a monkfish sort of like texture to it.
Yeah.
Right, so straight in with those.
Yeah.
Nice bit of cooking on that, please.
Right,
a bit more heat. And then once the mussels sort of open, we'll get the juice out of the mussels, and then that will strain them and pick them off. And then we'll start the sauce. So for the sauce, we're going to use shallots. So
I'll season that up for you.
That's brilliant.
Bit of salt and pepper.
You don't need to be too fine with these shallots because they're actually not in the sauce. They just flavour the sauce.
Now, we're constantly talking about pubs on this show, and particularly, it's very topical at the moment, the demise of the British pub. You've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a constant headache. I know
it's a battle. Is what
it is. But even for you, I mean, you run 2 successful pubs.
Yeah.
But generally, as a rule of thumb, there's 50 pubs a month going under.
That's right.
It's so sad.
And that's only accelerating as well. Yeah. A lot of it's energy costs. That's been horrendous for us. But also lots of it's actual cost of product itself. The cost of making beer, the cost of making everything has actually increased. So, it is difficult at the moment, so people need to get out there and support their local pubs at the moment.
Yeah, well, you kindly done some stuff for us as well recently. So,
yeah, I loved it. It was really good.
You'll see that throughout the next sort of, couple of months, over the coming months, you'll see that what Lenny's done for us as well. So, anyway, you're going to get the sauce on.
Yeah, I'm going to get the sauce on. So, a nice bit. Is this vegetable oil?
That's vegetable oil.
Yeah, cool. A little bit of vegetable oil. I'm going to get this shallot going straight away. And what I love about this dish is that you can, in the spring, we have this dish on just like a mussel dish.
Right.
But then we get to sort of autumn and winter, this dish sort of turns into more of like a chowder type of dish, but it's absolutely lovely flavours. It's a classic dish. So at this stage here, I can see that they've gone really sweet. I love that. Yeah. And then in here is our homemade curry powder. When I say homemade curry powder, it's a mixture of cumin, roasted garam masala, turmeric, and a little bit of cinnamon.
Is this your fish and chip shop curry powder?
Yeah, it is the fish and chip shop curry powder.
Actually, do you
You love that, though, don't you?
I do love it. I'm going to turn this down because I know you're working now.
Yeah.
Lenny, do you do curry sauce with your fish and chips?
Oh, of course you do. It's not fish and chips, that curry sauce and mushy peas.
Lovely.
I love it. Well, he loves it.
Well, I love it, but we have an argument over the Wally. I don't understand what Wallies are.
And your scraps, because he's from Yorkshire.
See, I don't mind scraps, but I draw the line at a Wally.
A wally is a large pickled gherkin.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people down south, I'm a northerner, but I have it on to appease the people of the south who actually love them. James hates them, but
that's wrong on every level.
Right then, that's going back up. A bit more heat on that pan.
Yeah.
And
it's like a gherkin the size of your head. It's ridiculous.
It's huge. So I'm going to add some wine in there. Again, about 175ml. And this is all about the sauce now. And I'm going to add probably about the same amount, 175, of the mussel juice from there. And that's real key to this dish. If you notice, I didn't add a lot of salt at the beginning because sometimes that juice can be quite salty from the mussels. So we'll taste that later and probably go with the sauce. So that's going to come down. Like, you don't want to put that in. Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you were going to put them all in.
No, I'm not going to put them all in. I'm just putting the juice in.
Thinking, all right, chef, what are you doing? Right, let that come down. But it's nice having you back cooking round.
I thought, you know, exactly. I'm
really
checking. Yeah. Do you want to sit and have a drink while I'm just checking out your fish?
Oh, yeah, thanks, mate.
Fish, go for it. Go. Just, I'll sort your fish out. You have a drink. So I've just got a nice little bit of this.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that looks
It's
beautiful.
almost like you know what you're doing.
That's it. And then you just leave that off to one side, you see?
All right.
So simple, but so lovely.
Right, so this sauce now is coming down beautifully. I love that.
You like these, don't you? You didn't get one of these.
I didn't get.
You didn't get one of these. He's built this. He's built. So I've got the same cooker as what he's got in the pub.
Yeah, but yours is a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And obviously a bit better. You know, as always. Thank you very much.
No, it's not. But he likes this spoonier, this spoon pot. Keeps the spoons clean.
Lovely.
Great idea.
Yeah. So, now just a little bit of acidity with the lemon. Not too much for that, and we're going to need a little bit more salt in that. And as you see, that sauce has come right down. Yeah. Beautiful. Now, we'll pass that, because we don't want all those bits of onion and garlic in there. Let's use that, pass that through.
If you were making that for yourself at home, would you eat it with all the bits in?
Do you know, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't, no, because I think that the beauty of this is that when there's nothing else apart from the real crunchy vegetables going through this dish and going into the
you don't need
tank,
it.
You don't need it, no. Right then, that's ready to go. Now, right at the end, as this comes down, I'm going to take this off the heat. I'm just going to put, as we call in our professional trade, Monte au beurre. And this just gives the sauce a little bit of a thickening, but also a real glossiness. And also enriches it as well. Well, thank you. Thanks, buddy. Bit more butter in there, yeah. I know you like your bit fond of butter, aren't you?
Well, the only person I think who uses more butter than me is a certain John Williams at the Ritz.
Yeah, I reckon
I've never seen anybody. I mean, I use a lot of butter in the sauce, but I've never seen anybody use that much butter in the sauce. That's why they taste so good, you see.
Yeah. Right, so that's come down lovely. Now we're going to add some... So these are just pre-cooked potatoes. And then the other thing we put in there is, and it's a bit odd, but the cucumber really helps with this. It brings a fragrance to the dish. All that goes in like that.
I love the idea of the cucumber.
Yeah, it gives a little loveliness to it. Mm. Now, right towards the end, and this is the last thing we do in the restaurant, is we'll add the mussels right at the end, just to warm through, because they're already cooked.
Yeah. So it's like a little soupy sort of.
Yeah, it is, and you get lovely and warm, and then it's a case of just plating. We'll add a little bit of coriander.
In it?
Yeah, a bit of coriander would be great. That's a little taste of that, just to make sure we're good. Not that I don't trust your seasoning, because you're an expert. That's delicious. Thank you, James.
There you go.
No. When was the last? Yeah, it looks lovely. When was the last time you had mouclard with James?
Mussels?
Mussels mouclard.
Not until now and tonight.
Oh, really?
Could have gone around to your place.
I know, and that's the problem. Every time we do a dish on here, it sells out for the next 6 months.
Funny. The first time he came on the show, I said, can you come on my show and just cook some of the dishes? The very, very first time you cooked on TV, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So the very, very first time he came and he brought in, he's going to do this. I said, he said, what do I do? I said, do the shrimp.
Potted shrimp, yeah.
Potted shrimp that you do. So and he brought all these ingredients and he was all quite, the apple gel and all this sort of, did all this fancy sort of stuff. The show went out. I've never seen abuse on the phone that he gave me because... How many portions did he sell in a week?
Yeah, so we used to sell between sort of 30 and 40 portions of this. And it was beautiful. You loved it, didn't you, the potted shrimp? And then we went from that to 550. in a matter of a day. And it was like shrimp gate. I couldn't get any shrimp. There was no shrimp anywhere. Every fish supply. I phoned you. I said, "Have you got any brown shrimp anywhere?" That looks lovely, that now, doesn't it?
There's your nice little bit.
Now, the colours on this dish are just great as well. I mean, look at that.
Oh, the colours are superb.
I know. I think you're going to enjoy this, Lesley.
I think I am going to enjoy
all
this.
cooked by my own fair hand.
Yes, of course.
And then I know this is a bit controversial, but this really works, this apple.
Apple and fish does work.
Yeah, really works.
I don't know the world's going. I don't know whether anybody cares whether it's got apple on it, controversial
I don't
or not.
think they know where we're going.
There's more to worry about, isn't there?
Now, that is our amazing, what I call that mussel mouclard, but we serve it with a beautiful bit of white fish on it. And yeah, thanks for your help, James.
With a little help from me.
Well done.
Lenny, everyone.
Well done.
Right, you get to dive into this, Lesley. And then, should I pour the wine? Or
you can tell us. Yeah. So this is a Ribera. It's a Spanish rosé that we serve really cold with this dish. Not as cold as it was 5 minutes ago. It was frozen in the actual freezer.
Yeah.
But this is delicious, and it complements the dish brilliantly with the spices. You took in, James. I've eaten this a dozen times.
Lenny, that's beautiful.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoy it, Lesley.
It's lovely, isn't it? And the fish is cooked, you see?
And the fish is perfectly
it is cooked.
cooked.
You're absolutely right. He does know what he's doing. This is very good, mate.
Those mussels are so soft.
Yeah, and do you know they carry spice so well, and that's what we love about this dish. It's a real sort of crowd pleaser. And if you have it with the rosé, this Spanish rosé, which is made with the Tempranillo grape, it's fantastic. Really cold.
Delicious. Lenny Carr-Roberts, everybody. Right, Lesley, be cooking for you. You're going to do a little French classic?
I am. I'm going to be doing a adobe.
Adobe. Another pub classic as well.
Delicious.
That's beef stew to you and I, but anyway, that's what it is, though, isn't it? There you go. And I was showing you 3 of my favourite ways to use chestnuts in this week's Little Masterclass, but I'll see you back here after the break. I want to be spoiling TV farmer Jimmy Doherty to a calorie-busting pudding. A white chocolate and whiskey croissant butter.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, my goodness.
White chocolate and whiskey. It's my trademark dish. But you had his, but this is mine. Anyway, I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now I'll be showing you 3 ways to use chestnuts in this week's Little Masterclass. And Lesley Waters will be here treating us to a winter beef daub a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a childhood friend of Mr. Jamie Oliver, who went on to forge a career for himself as a farmer and a TV presenter, and amongst loads of other things as well. It's the brilliant Jimmy Doherty. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say cheers. Welcome to the house.
Cheers.
And congratulations on what a career. What's happened? 20 years, just poof,
it's
gone.
Flown by. I've got to say, the 20 years feels like 40 years sometimes. But it's, yeah.
Well, you chose that path. I said to him, but 20 years ago, I went, you won't chose the easiest of jobs, because I come from farming background.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's not the easiest
It's
thing,
not
is it?
the easiest. And I think, actually, when I started, all those years ago, I had this sort of mindset that it's going to be this bucolic life, and I envisioned myself of wandering around with a basket collecting eggs. But it's that naivety. If I hadn't had that naivety, I don't think I've ever started.
But that's what made it special in terms of the programmes and stuff like that we're watching. So we're just going to do, because I know you've got a bit of a sweet tooth, so we're going to do stewed prunes, particularly this time of year. Stewed prunes, 2 of my favourite desserts this time of year. A clotted cream rice pudding.
Oh, lovely.
And also, we're going to do a white chocolate and whiskey croissant butter pudding, which has become, I don't like the word trademark dishes, because I think chefs have done dishes before, but it is one of probably the most iconic dishes that I do on the restaurant menu. It's probably 80% of the food that we sell. So I'm going to do the white chocolate and whiskey croissant butter pudding, is it? The low-fat version of the 2.
OK.
All right? So full-fat milk, full-fat cream. And you know as well as I do as a farmer, we should always have full-fat milk, full-fat cream.
It's all the flavour.
Well, it is. I don't know why people take all the stuff out of it. So we're just going to warm this all up. And then when you warm this all up, we're going to flavour it with a little bit of vanilla. We're going to use croissants instead of bread. But the whole point of this mixture is the eggs and the egg yolks, the ratio that we're going to get. So I'm going to use all butter croissants and still put butter over the top as well.
Okay.
All right, so we're just going to warm this up, and then I'm going to add the little bit of white chocolate to here. So first of all, we've got to talk about the farm, first of all, before we talk about the book and everything you're doing. Where did this idea, where did this come from? If people weren't following you for 20 years like we've been doing, where did the idea come from? Love of outdoors, I know. But...
Yeah, I'd always loved the outdoors and nature, and my mum and dad moved out of London when I was about 2 or 3, and they moved to rural Essex, and I got obsessed by the natural world. My brother was into football. He had a little football pitch on this little meadow, and he used to stand me in goal and just kick balls at me all the time, and I hated it. But I was interested in the grasshoppers and whatever else, and the frogs and toads. And then there was one point in my life I thought, I wanted to run my own farm, and I got to a point where I didn't want to do it at weekends. I'd rather do something and fail in it than never do something and regret it. So I rented a derelict farm, and it was cheaper to rent a derelict farm than it was to rent a flat in Walthamstow in London. And I lived in a tent for the first week, then a caravan. My girlfriend, Michaela, who's my wife now, is that she gave up her job and she lived in the caravan with me. And at one point, we had 3 dogs and a pig living in the caravan. We must have been insane.
Didn't you get married on a pink tractor? Was that?
We got married at a local church, and then my pink tractor took us back to the farm where we had our reception. But still got the pink tractor.
Still got it.
I remember buying it, having it sprayed pink, and the local dealership went, what's he talking about? And I was driving around the fields, I could see the other farmers going, what the hell is that?
Well, there must be... We're going to talk about what you're doing there now, but I've just got to recap what we've got going on here. So we've got our croissants, which we've got over here, which I've sliced up. Lovely. I've warmed up my milk and the cream with the vanilla. So this is going to go in here. And then we take our butter and we just... Wow. Whereas before we butter the bread of a bread and butter pudding, we just pour that over the top. That's that one. And the whole idea of it it seeps in with everything else. So we pour that over there, mix that together. We then add our whiskey to it. And this is where you just put a wee dram.
Yes, well done. It just smells like Christmas, though.
Yeah, exactly. Just for Johnny's house. There you go. There we go. There we go. We just take that off to one side, and then we pour this over the top. And what we want to do now is just allow that to sit in there, and it just sits in there for about 15 minutes before you actually cook it. And that's the bit that you want. You want it just to sit there for about 15 minutes before you actually put it in the oven, about 150 degrees, so a really low oven. And you want to cook that for no more than about sort of 45 minutes. So you want it still quite soft in the middle. So I'm going to pop this in the oven as well. So when was the transition for you for farming with this other bright idea? You turned it into a wildlife park.
Yeah, it sounds like it happened overnight. It didn't...
I was thinking, what is he doing now?
Well, that goes back to my early years. And when I was 13, I got a part-time job in a wildlife park. And when we had the farm, when people used to come to the farm shop, they wanted to see the animals. So we opened a little section of it with, like a little petting farm. We had some pigs and piglets and some goats, and that slowly expanded. So now we do lots of conservation work, both in terms of British wildlife, but also exotic wildlife like tapirs and things like that. But now we're really heading towards education and conservation at the farm.
I mean, the topic is huge. Really.
It's huge, but you should come down if you want to tickle a tapir. You should come and see us.
There's an offer you can't refuse, isn't it? I've got to say, is that your chat-up line now? Is it? So, look, we just got our nice little bits of prunes in here with our sugar and our different spices in here. That goes in there. I'm just going to talk about our rice pudding now. So the rice pudding, you've had that one. Rice pudding is pudding rice, which you've got in here. Don't wash it. Just pudding rice goes in here. Next, we take a little bit of sugar. That goes on there as well, over the top. And then, likewise, with the white chocolate bread and butter pudding, full-fat milk.
Lovely.
Full-fat cream. There we go. Like that. Then, of course, we've got a little bit of vanilla. Vanilla is a well, it's a seed, but technically it's a fruit, so it's part of your 5 a day. So you feel, at least you can eat this and be happy you've had one thing. And then we've got a little bit of nutmeg, which I'm just going to grate a little bit of nutmeg over the top. So we just take some fresh nutmeg over the top of there as well. But you've got to bake rice pudding. I don't believe you've got to cook it on the stove and all that chefy sort of stuff, mould it and all that rubbish. You've got to bake it. The whole point about rice pudding should have a skin on it.
Right.
Then you take clotted cream. This is when you phone A&E. Because where I live, it takes about 45 minutes to get to you. But look, but this goes in here, and then this is what I love about. This is how times have changed, Jimmy. You know, when I've been cooking for 30 odd years, and when you first started, it was 20 years ago. That was where the height of the ready steady cook. Now, then it went into sort of healthy food and all this sort of stuff. Now, thank goodness, it's come back to real food.
Well, we're all learning that all those natural fats are really good for us.
Thank you. I've been going on about it for years. People have been doing my head in.
Grass-fed beef, you know, dairy that's out on grass all the time, all those essential fats.
Look, and we take this and we put it in the oven for about 45 minutes. Same as the bread and butter pudding. Take it all out. We're going to blowtorch and finish off with these prunes. But leads me on to this. That this is so all the love and the passion that you put in the farm, you put together in one book. And this is celebrating 20 years of hardship. What you're doing. Look at these meerkats. How do you get a meerkat?
Well, it's
How do you get a meerkat?
Well, there's lots of people out there in the zoo world, the wildlife park world, and we all share animals, you see. But the whole book tells the story of when we started, when I started, my sort of, as a kid, my passion, to where we are now as a wildlife park. But I've spread it across the seasons, so it's relevant in terms of what's happening now throughout the seasons, because I really want to get people engaged with the natural world. Get out there, get in the woods, go for walks, see what's happening around you. And then when we had lockdown with COVID, people were doing that quite a lot.
A hell of a lot, yeah.
But I think we need to carry that on because, you know, there's the climate crisis, loss of biodiversity, there's lots of negativity out there, and quite rightly so, but it's quite nice to have a positive story, a positive spin on this to get people engaged in the natural world.
Well, I mean, I live in the countryside like yourself, but one thing that amazed me, I mean, you get to see it all the time, but one thing that was amazing when you had no cars on the road and no planes in the sky was you could hear birdsong. You could hear things that you kind of took for granted, but you appreciated them 10 times more.
Completely. And amazing how nature came in. So when we were closed over COVID, when the wildlife park was closed, all the wildlife came in. And some of the animals actually got a bit bored because the general public weren't there. So the donkeys got a bit depressed. I don't know if a donkey's depressed, they've got that face anyway. But our meerkats, they really missed the general public. And one in particular got bored. He used to just get out of his enclosure and go and see the other animals. And it used to get out so much, we called it Steve McQueen, because it would escape constantly to go and see the ferrets or go and see the camels. And we had to build it a brand new enclosure. But it's amazing how nature takes over when the general public aren't around.
Right. So what's next on this journey? Because I get the feeling when you're talking about it, and I've read the book as well, you're not at the end of the journey, you're almost at the beginning or the very start of it. You're not fulfilled fully?
That is the problem with me, is that I tend to be a bit of a butterfly and there's always different bits and bobs, and where I travel with filming, I see ideas and I try and bring them back. The wildlife park is expanding. We are launching a charity this year to help biodiversity and conservation, helping to fund some projects in the UK and maybe abroad.
So, well, best of luck with everything as well. I'm just going to finish off by plating up this. You've got a white chocolate croissant butter pudding there.
Wow.
You've got another secondary hit, which is on its way, of this. This is clotted cream rice pudding. Is that now? I would just do this with a dollop of jam, but the producer says you need to do something more fancy than dollop of jam.
A dollop of jam is awesome, though.
Well, that's what I said, but yeah, I've been outvoted. Don't worry about that swimming in butter. That's all goodness. And then we take our nice little bit of compote of prunes, and they're going to sit with it as well. So there you have it. Sort of two variations of desserts that I absolutely love. As some people say that I love them too much, but you can tell. But there you have your clotted cream rice pudding with stewed plums and your white chocolate and whiskey croissant butter pudding.
Wow, what a thing of beauty.
Well, there you go. There's the first one.
Look at this.
And then 2 seconds behind it is the second one.
Oh, wow.
This is a white chocolate and whiskey croissant butter pudding.
Oh.
Forget about what I put in there. Just eat it.
It's so indulgent.
Just eat it and enjoy it.
It makes you feel like a king, doesn't it?
There you go. Well, Jimmy Doherty, everybody. Now we're making a slow-cooked pork for Jimmy, Alan and Russell later on in the show, and Chef Lesley Waters will be taking over the kitchen very shortly. But after the break, I'll give you a little masterclass in chestnuts that you can try yourselves at home this Christmas. Hey, Ralph, you happy with that? He's happy. See you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, my guests today are Alan Jones and Russell Watson and Jimmy Doherty. They'll all be joining me in the kitchen again very shortly. And we've got a French classic coming up next from Lesley Waters. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And now we've hit December, it only seems right to take a look at the classic chestnut. Now, these are the chestnuts, of course, picked in the autumn. They're wonderful this time of year. You can get a load of different sort of chestnut products this time of the year as well. But you get things like chestnut honey as well. You can get chestnut flour as well, using the famous Italian dessert from Tuscany as well, which is like a cake. This is the little sort of chestnut honey. We've got this is brilliant, this sort of stuff. This is chestnut liqueur. It tastes off the chart. It's amazing. And I'm going to utilise that in some of these cakes and bits and pieces. And this, I suppose, is really the prize of all chestnuts this time of year. These are marron glacé. These are the candied chestnuts, the famous marron glacé. These can be as much as nearly €10 a piece, which is about £2,000 at the moment, the way we're going. But you've got a nice little sort of these little marron glacé. They're about sort of 60, 50p each, something like that, where you'll get them for. So they're the little marron glacé. So I'm going to do a wonderful little cake first of all, utilising some of this chestnuts. Like I said, you can use the chestnut flour for this if you can get hold of it. I've got some butter in here, but we're going to do a classic sort of bun mix, which is kind of like the all-in-one mixture. So we just take our butter, we take our sugar, that's going to go in. We take our flour, like I said, you can use that chestnut flour if you want. And then we take our eggs, and the whole lot go in. So this is an all-in-one mix. So we're going to take the entire lot and chuck it all in. Now, the one thing you do have to do with this, if you are doing this, is make sure that the butter is soft, if you are going to do that. So just give it a dash in a microwave, something like that. Make sure it's softened nicely. We're just going to mix this all together like that. Give it a quick mix. Now, you can flavour this if you wanted to with some of this liqueur. I'm going to use that as a little bit for the buttercream a little bit later on. But a classic sort of bun mixture. Bit of that. And you can see from this the amazing colour that you get from the eggs as well. So that's it. Simple as that to make this bun mix. And then what you want to do is you can use an ice cream scoop if you've got one of those squidgy ice cream scoops, but just take a good tablespoon of this into the mixture, dollop it all in, straight in the oven, of course. This is go in and make these classic buns. And the reason why I'm doing this is that, you know, I think Christmas is all about nostalgia and everything else. And one thing that I do remember about Christmas is, well, that my granny and my auntie arguing what channel they were going to watch the Queen's speech on, really, when I was a young kid. And my granddad usually drunk in the corner, having had too much port. But one thing I do remember is that they used to bring these butterfly buns. And I've only ever seen them I saw them in America a while back in this little bakery when I was on my travels. And I thought, I'm going to do these on TV again because I absolutely love them. So these are just baked in the oven. So standard 180 degrees, something like that, for about sort of 12, 14 minutes, something like that. And you end up with these classic buns that we've got over here. So then to make the sort of the buttercream, I've got in here some little bit of vanilla, I've got some butter, I've got some icing sugar. And again, you want to sort of keep this quite soft. So we're going to put this on here and soften this up. So now, at home, you would usually take if it starts to firm up a little bit too much like that, a little bit of hot water and just put a couple of tablespoons of hot water in. Me. Comes with a health warning. But I just soften this up in here, like that. Yeah, don't try this at home. Don't do it next to your tree. Now, we've got the buttercream happening over here. Keep mixing it. You can't really over-mix buttercream. Just gets lighter the more you do it. Now, when you're doing this brings back memories when I was a young kid. Look, just cut this on the angle like that. When you don't want to cut them, slice them on the top, otherwise you can't get enough filling in it. So we're just going to open these like that, and you sort of dig the knife into here. And I'm going to do a couple of other quick dishes with these chestnuts in a second, but this, I think, is fantastic with this one. So you want to soften up the buttercream. You can do this with just a bit of whipped cream if you wanted to. But this is sort of chestnuts two ways in this bit. You can add the puree to this if you want. I'm going to add this. Obviously, separate this out from the kids to yours. But a little bit of this chestnut liqueur. And this tastes, trust me, once you get all of this, it's just magical stuff. It really is. So we've got our lovely buttercream, our light buttercream. Just got in there. And then pop it into a piping bag. Now, you've got to do with the old star nozzle that Granny used to have. But this is where times have changed now. We're not allowed on television to use cloth bags. Yeah, health and hygiene. Now we use plastic. Landfill. Utter stupid. But look, put this in here. Pile it all up. And then you pipe this on here. So this is your sort of the chestnut sort of brandy. And then you pipe this. Look at this. Remember these? Like that. It's nostalgia in a bun. Bit of that one, and then finally, bit of that. And then we can grab our little tops, and you cut these, and then these go that way. But then we're going to put more sort of, this is a double whammy of chestnuts with this as well. So what I've got in front of me is, like I said, a selection of different varieties, different varieties and methods of producing the chestnuts which you've got in here. Like I said, there's so many different varieties. You get chestnut liqueur, you get I've seen chestnut essence as well, a little bit of ice and sugar over the top. And there you have sort of a sort of 1970s retro cake, perfect for Christmas with chestnuts. And it's a really unusual sort of little taste. You get this chestnut liqueur in there as well. I think it's wicked for Christmas, something slightly different, but that's that one. That's your first one. So the next one we're going to do now is your classic sort of Brussels sprouts. Really, really simple. Brussels sprouts. I don't know why people make crosses in Brussels sprouts, stuff like that. You've got too much time on your hands if you stood there doing this for Christmas. Really what you want to do is just cut them. You can cut them in half, you can leave them whole, it's entirely up to you. But what I'm going to do is cook them in sort of an emulsion. And for that, you take water. And you see the pan that I'm doing it. I'm not rapidly boiling them in a classic sense in a normal pan. We're going to take our Brussels sprouts, they're going to go in, and then we're going to take a good knob of butter. That's going to go in there. And then you just put some salt and pepper in it. And what you want to do is rapidly boil this now. So you can put the lid on it, rapidly boil it, and you cook these in the style of what we call Vichy, which is a place in France which is famous for mineral water. They cook carrots in a similar sort of way to this. The bacon I'm going to cook separate because I don't want soggy bacon with it, so we just get the crispy bacon to go with it as well. While that lot's cooking, we can turn our attention to another classic. Now, this is Gâteau Mont Blanc, which is really, really simple. You can start off with a little bit of meringue. Now, I've made my own meringue. You can buy those little meringue shells as well. We've got some whipped cream. So, standard whipped cream. I put a little bit of vanilla in this, but you can, of course, there's a theme through this, a little bit of this chestnut liqueur as well. Now, you can put chestnut puree in it. Some people put chestnut puree in it, which is here. And just when you're doing that, add it to the cream that's not whipped. So add it to the cream that's double cream, and then you whip it. Otherwise, you get lumps inside this as well. You'll never be able to get rid of it. So as this is cooking, you can see that now. These are cooking nicely. Now what we're going to do is lift off the lid, and now rapidly cook this. So like this. They're only going to take about sort of 3-4 minutes, these, once you take the lid off. And then we've got our lovely little cream. And then you can take this and pile this on top of our meringue. So that's your chestnut cream on top of meringue. Then what we do is take some chestnut puree. Now, you get your chestnut puree. I'll just keep an eye on my bacon over here. Make sure it's not burning. There we go. So we've got our crispy bacon and a Brussels sprout sauna. Just what you want to start your Christmas. That's going to go in there. So rapidly boiling the Brussels. You can see you've got that beautiful colour. You want to retain the colour. They shouldn't be grey. Then what we're going to do is take this puree. So this is how the puree comes, like that. You take a potato ricer or a masher, like that. Now, you want ones with the big holes in it. What you don't want is the old standard potato masher that's got the massive holes in it. You want the ones with the small holes in it. And all you do is you squeeze this over the top, like that. And this is supposed to resemble that classic Mont Blanc. Easy as that. And then you can then finish this off if you wanted to with a few bits of meringue, if you wanted, a little bit like that. You don't have to. But you see, you get this simple little dessert. Some people put a little bit of grated chestnut, fresh chestnuts over the top. It's entirely up to you. But either way, it just wants a good whack of icing sugar over the top. And there we have it. I mean, it's so simple, this. You can just use your bought meringue as well. Pop that over the top, your chestnut puree, whipped cream, and you've got a dessert in seconds. Gâteau Mont Blanc, really, really easy, like that. Finally, brings us back to our Brussels sprouts we've got over here. Now, these ones over here, I'm going to take these little sort of sous vide ones. We can chop these up, like that, because they can go in. And you can see from the Brussels now, you get this amazing colour still from the Brussels sprouts. Crank the pan right up. The bacon is now ready, that's finished, like that. And what you want to do now is make sure that this is ready. Now, you can actually hear when it's ready. Add our chestnuts, add our crispy bacon, like that. We've got our black pepper and Brussels sprouts. But look at the colour from it. Look at that. And you get this amazing colour. Now, I'll be mad not to put it back into one of these dishes. But look, you just put this over the top. And look at the colour of the Brussels. They're, funny enough, they're green, which is how they should be this Christmas. So we've got a bit of that, and then finally, I'm going to take some of these chestnuts and just over the top of there. So there you have it. 3 different ways with the amazing chestnuts, all of which are available this season. And don't forget to buy one of these when you're in the shops for yourself. There you go. Easy as that. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about in a little Mousecast, then do get in touch with me, see if we can help out right here on the show. Now, I'll be treating my guests, Aled, Russell and Jimmy, to a show-stopping dish of slow-cooked pork very shortly. But join us after the break in a couple of minutes when the wonderful Lesley Waters will be taking over the kitchen duties. I'll see you in a bit. These are delicious. Welcome back. Now, I'll be rounding off the first of my festive Saturday mornings by serving up a slow roast loin of pork for Aled Jones, Russell Watson and Jimmy Doherty. That's coming up next. But first, I'm here with a food writer and a chef who's been with me every stage of my TV career, ever since the early days of Ready, Steady, Cook. It's Lesley Waters. Wonderful to have you here. Now, if I say it's 30 years ago.
How did that happen?
30 years ago.
How did that happen?
30 years ago. I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Scary.
It's just scary. It's gone.
Absolutely scary.
It's got almost as old as this recipe. So what are we going to be making it?
This recipe is classic. I've been away a lot working in the Med.
As you call it, yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously,
I've been away a lot working. Yeah.
And I've been really inspired by Elizabeth David, and this is my version of a beef daube, which is, so, as you know, just another word for
a beef stew.
A beef stew.
But this is a different beef stew. It's almost like I suppose it's like the beef equivalent to coq au vin.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, isn't it, really? But it can be done with, coq au vin can be done with white wine and red wine. This has got to be red. Yeah.
It's got to be red, but you can also do a daube with lamb. I'd use shoulder of lamb. And the great thing about this, there's no flour in it at all. Yep. So if you're gluten intolerant, it's a really great one to do. Get yourself some nice chuck steak.
Yep.
You can cut it up as big as you want, depending on how long you've got to cook. It is really good to let it marinate for overnight, really, just so that you get those flavours in. One of the flavours I absolutely love is orange.
Yeah.
And orange peel features here. Some rosemary going in there, bay, a little bit of garlic going in there, which I'm just going to smash and throw in.
So why I say why Elizabeth David? I mean, why is why, but it's. I mean, it's an amazing story that she had. Anyway,
she was an amazing woman. I mean, her first book came out in the 50s called Mediterranean Food.
Yeah.
And what was so amazing about her was that she lived in those countries, you know, and she was totally passionate. She believed in simple food. And I got into her, I suppose, when I worked for Prue, because Prue was very much into Elizabeth David. And Elizabeth David came for lunch at the school, and I cooked the lunch.
Really?
Yes, I was terrified. OK, so you want to leave this overnight with all those wonderful flavours.
Right. But you must do something similar to this, really, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And we use beef cheek, ox cheek. So it's a gelatinous sort of meat to it.
Cut of meat that as well, yeah. Exactly.
This is from Provence, isn't it? Provençal.
This is originally from Provence. And there are lots of different recipes. Some people put carrots in. In the summertime, you can put tomatoes and olives in.
Yeah.
You know, you
the
can
recipes
really,
do vary a bit.
They do vary. This is my own recipe, which has been inspired. Do you remember Richard Onley, the American writer who wrote... Yeah? And Elizabeth. So
you have got a bit you've had a bit of time on your hands, haven't you, really?
I have really, yeah.
Gone are the days we didn't have time to think on Ready, Steady, Cook. Now you've gone all thespian on me and books and everything. You've gone all really intelligent on me now.
No, I'm never intelligent. But I have to say, it's been great spending time in the Med and really getting back into that food. I love it.
So this inspiration, is it, are you writing a new book on Elizabeth David? What is this all about?
I'm working on a new idea of two very powerful cooks. One's Elizabeth David and the other is, do you remember the Duchess of Duke Street?
No.
Edwardian times. She was
not
called,
that old.
Yeah. She was the queen of cooks.
I'm old, but I'm not that old.
She was the queen of cooks. There was a television series back in '76, and you weren't even born then, I know.
I was born in '72.
Oh,
I do lectures at local colleges, and I did one the other day, and one of the young students said, who's the most inspirational person you've ever cooked for? You know, the first person you ever cooked for on television. I went Zig and Zag. No idea. The entire... Not even the teacher knew who Zig and Zag was. They all had to Google.
It was off Channel 4 Breakfast, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the legends.
Yeah.
Absolute legends.
Well, you know, I think probably the Duchess of Duke
Not
Street...
up there with Elizabeth David, but, you know...
No, but she did train under a student of Escoffier.
All right. I thought you
Okay.
were going to say something to somebody Zig and Zag then, but... OK.
OK, so once you've browned off your bacon, lardons
Do you want me
and
to
your
tip that out
onions...
for you?
Yeah,
There you go.
can you, darling? Thank you. Oh, you're marvellously strong, thank you. OK, so now drain your meat off, and we're just going to literally put that on, and we're going to give it just a little time, not like you would do for beurre bourguignon. We're just going to sear it a little bit. You could put a tiny bit of...
Veg oil.
Veg oil, thank you, that's the word I'm looking for. OK, so I'm going to now just deglaze the pan a bit, seared off the meat.
So you actually use some of the glaze as some of the red wine, you don't...
Yeah, I'm going to use it all, actually. And I'm just going to put that in, like that. And then you can do a cartouche on the top if you want. I've got a little bit of wine in here.
Do you want me to make a cartouche for you?
Yeah, it's just there. Okay. Cartouche, very posh word for a round piece of greaseproof paper.
A round piece, so circular to a round.
Stock going... God, this stock, who made this stock? Was that you?
That was me. Is that all right?
Beef stock, or you could use chicken bouillon if you wanted to.
OK.
All right, going in. The reason that I'm putting that on the top is just to help keep the steam in. And you can make it wet if you want to, which will steam it even more.
I thought you were just going to throw that bit in the bin then. I thought, what's good?
OK.
I've just done that. What's wrong with that?
That goes on the top, lid on.
I'll give you a cloth.
Give us a cloth, thank you, my darling. Lid on. Bring it up to the boil, put it in the oven, about 150 degrees Celsius for about 3 hours.
Yes, boss, I'm doing that.
OK,
right,
so can you do that now, please?
Yeah, I'm doing it now,
you.
yep.
Lovely. And that's it, really. If it doesn't thicken up during cooking, you can lift out the meat, reduce the liquid, add a tiny bit of balsamic.
And how long was that meat marinating for? 24 hours, did you say?
Yeah, at least overnight. You can do it for about 12 hours, but 24 hours would be great.
Lovely.
OK, so we're going to do gratin potatoes or dauphinoise, whatever you want to call them. So in here I've got double cream going in, like so, milk going in, and a little bit of salt. Yep. And what I'm going to do now is bay leaf, thank you, nutmeg, garlic, and we're there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know what
do you
you're
want?
doing. I want this.
Oh, you want a spring
Okay.
back?
Right, going to give it a stir. You want to bring that up to the boil. We've got our dish here, which I'm going to just rub out with butter. Now, there's a lot of discussion about dauphinoise or gratin potatoes as to whether or not you should put cheese in.
Yeah.
I like cheese, so I'm putting it in. I'm just using good old cheddar because I like it.
Yeah. Are you
All
putting
right.
the leeks in with everything else, or the leeks?
Yeah, just spread them out. You could just toss those in there like that, and let's just put it through. You don't need to sweat them because they're kind of just do their own thing in there. So I'm just going to place those potatoes like so. Could you season them for me, darling, as I'm doing that? I've seasoned the cream and the milk. All right, like that. 30 years, James.
I know, 30 years.
Do you remember the first time what happened when I met you that time in Nottingham?
Oh yeah, I did. You thought I was a doorman. You told me to get your bags out of the car, didn't you?
I did. I feel so bad about it. I still don't reckon I cannot.
Could you get the bags out of my car, dear? Yeah, fine. Whatever.
Right, OK, so next thing we're going to do...
next thing we're going to do is I'll clean the stove.
You clean the stove for me. Cool, that rocks that stove, doesn't it? Really does rock.
Don't worry, nobody noticed.
OK, so the milk and the cream going on the top.
If we thought about it, we'd have a bigger dish though, wouldn't we, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
OK, so that's going on the top. And then we want to cover it with foil. Now, you can either cook this quickly for about an hour and 20, hour and a half at about 180. Or if you've got the oven on, cooking your meat, you can put this in for round about the same time as the meat takes. OK? So,
Look at how you fill it up like that, and I'm the one that's got to carry it to the oven.
Yeah, because that's the sort of woman I am, James, OK? That's the sort of woman I am. Right, so let's now just move some of these potatoes out of the way. Let's just pop them in here.
That's my supper for later.
We're gonna, I'll make you some more later.
That's all right. I'm quite happy with that. There you go.
Lenny, what wine would you drink with this?
Do you know, I think a dish like this, I would go for something like a Bordeaux region red for me. I think it'd be really good. A good Bordeaux, full of flavour, full of fruit, sort of nice bit of tanning to it. I think would cut through the sort of richness of the dish. If you're going to go sort of like Southern Hemisphere, I'd be looking at like maybe a Shiraz or Merlot.
Sounds pretty good to me.
OK. Right, James, how are you feeling about getting out the stew first?
Right, happy with that? Yeah.
Yeah, let's get the stew out and you can spoon it. I bought my very old, seeing as I'm going back in time, I'm going very
Blinking heck, where's that from?
That is from my
cupboard.
It's
like Antiques Roadshow. Where the hell is that from?
That is from my that's from my charity shop.
Right, it's like from a car boot. What?
Oh,
look at that. Oh, dear.
Now, you could lift the meat out and reduce it. I don't think you need to, so I want you to spoon that all in there.
Oh,
you
can. Stunning.
You ain't getting any of this. I've worked for this lunch. You're not getting any of it, fella.
Oh.
You can, if you want to, finish it off with a bit of balsamic, if you want to. I'm not going to, because I think that looks great, and I'm looking for cutlery, just so that I can give a little bit of a taste.
Right. It's in here,
where is it, darling?
The spoon's in
there. I'm getting to know my way round our kitchen.
I know.
OK, let me go this side. Let me have a little taste.
It does smell amazing, Lesley. I have to say, this is beautiful.
Oh. Ding dong.
Ding dong.
Right.
OK, I'm going to put a little bit of crusty salt on there, like so.
There you
Lovely.
go.
Thank you, James.
There you go.
And the garlic and the parsley on top of that. Let's move that out of the way. And now, James,
I've got that.
Let's get that gratin, the one that's done, out. Oh, you've done it already.
Yes,
oh, isn't it marvellous having him here? It's absolutely marvellous. There is the gratin, and finally, thanks, James. I was about to do that, but you read my mind. The pickled red cabbage. There you have it. Pickled red cabbage, beef daube, and scallop potatoes.
Amazing. How good does that look?
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Lesley Waters, everybody.
Well done.
A.K.A. the new Elizabeth David. Now, I know you want to plate this up on another 50p plate.
It's more than 50 pence, I'll have you know. OK, so here we got the crunchy potatoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lenny, you're actually getting a portion. Look at this, Lenny. Look at this. Look at this.
And I'm using the same spoons.
It's like the cabbage will be...
Yeah.
Something about this, don't it?
It's just real simple stuff, isn't it? But...
Yeah.
Have you got a spoon there?
Yeah, there you go. Do you want me to put a little bit on for Lenny?
There for me? How about that?
There you go.
That looks amazing, Lesley.
So,
I can't wait to taste
I hope you
this.
enjoy it.
Well, the
I
smell...
don't get a plate.
You got to get the bowl.
I'll just get a bowl.
Wow.
Go on
So
then.
tender, that beef.
Yeah, it should just literally be falling apart.
Oh. Mmm.
Is it a bit hot?
It's hot. It's hot, but it's putting the beef in the wine is the key to this, isn't it? That's leaving it in there to marinade.
I think it makes them... And weirdly enough, the orange rind, it just gives it something.
Lesley Waters, everybody. Lovely to see you.
Oh,
lovely to see
lovely
you.
to
Lovely
be
to see you. Now, there's always time for one more plate of food, so join me again after the break when I'm dishing up a stunning plate of food of cooked pork for Jimmy, Russell and Allard. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, sadly, to the last part of the show. But I'm back in the kitchen. You'll like the next cook. But I'm back in the kitchen with all my guests. Allard Jones, Russell Watson, Jimmy Doherty, and my local landlord, Lenny Carr-Roberts. It's a... Look at that. That's, Lenny, that's a boy band right there. Look at that. I don't know about so much boy band. I don't know, middle-aged band, whatever you call it.
Wow, handsome boys, handsome boys.
It's a band. We're nearly there with the band anyway.
It's an elastic band.
Right, so I've got to feed all this lot, and I thought, how am I going to feed all this lot? I'm going to do little portions of food. I'll do a proper portion of food.
Proper.
Roast pork.
Oh, yeah.
But this is special roast pork. Now, I know that you're a pig farmer, and I know that, Russell, you're venturing into farming as well. So this is my favourite pork. This is middle white pork. Purebred middle white. Now, Jimmy, you'll know.
Yeah, it's a beautiful breed, one of our rarest breeds. It's there was the small white, they still have the large white, and of course there's the middle white. And the middle white has lovely pricked ears and a lovely turned-up nose. I'm not looking at you when I said turned-up nose.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to paint a picture of that when I've got a piece of it here.
Beautiful pigs. And the great thing about them is they have fantastic fat, which makes great crackling.
Now, you're now living on a farm, aren't you, Russell, now?
Yeah, we just... About 11 months ago, we moved into a farm. But to be honest with you, it's not like your farm.
Is it not?
No. It's basically a petting zoo for my wife. Yeah. We've got 6 alpacas, 8 horses, 30 sheep just to eat the grass.
Right.
We've got 3 dogs, 1 cat and a parrot.
And that's...
A partridge in a pear tree.
Exactly.
You'd have to get one.
But
probably got one, to be
the
fair.
parrot's random in amongst that. Is that you always had the parrot? Because they grow to be quite old, don't they?
The parrot's been with us for a year, but supposedly it's got a life expectancy of 75 years. I know. What next for it?
You were sold it for 7 years, right?
I've been teaching it words as well.
Okay, I bet you have.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't tell you any of them.
Exactly. So, look, we've got our pork over here. Now, the way you cook this is, first of all, when you get... People often ask about crackling. First of all, it's the quality of the pig. That's the most important bit. The quality of the pork denotes the quality of the crackling. What you want to do, really, is put nothing with it. Sometimes you put a little bit of water in it. You can do it. You don't need to put anything with it. Is you need to shock it. So really hot oven for about 30 to 45 minutes, something like that. And it'll start to smoke. It'll start to really start to cook. But then you take it out, turn the oven down about 160, and then continue to cook it.
Yeah, done like that about 2 hours.
Yeah, and we've got one that we're just resting as well. Meanwhile, over here we've got our cabbage on a little sort of Japanese grill.
That's awesome.
Wow, look at that.
So this is hispy cabbage that we take, and we take the hispy cabbage and we barbecue it. Cider's going to go into our sauce. It's going to go in apple sauce as well as a nice little cider sauce. At the same time, gentlemen, I want you to just help yourself to a beer because it is Christmas. We were talking about this lovely little sort of brewery earlier, so you've got some beer that you can have a taste of this as well. They're all random, some are lager, some are ales and all in there as well. Now, one thing we didn't mention earlier was we mentioned the tour, but didn't tell you when you were going on tour.
Al?
November 12th, 13th, all the way through to December I think, 14th, something like that.
Right.
All over Britain, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, you name it.
And I mean, are you still touring all over the world, you guys? Because I mean, that must take an awful lot out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're looking at going to Australia next year, aren't we?
Yep.
And we're going to get a camper van and tour around Australia.
Yeah, you were saying that.
It's going to happen.
Forward to
Together. Now, there's a series, you see. We could sell that to ITV.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a definite series.
You can come with us if you like.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Bert and Ernie on tour.
Yeah. No, it's good. We're lucky to be able to do it, you know. But Australia's great as well. It's such a brilliant place to tour.
And we talk. What about festivals? You play at festivals, or
yeah,
you know, you're doing festivals. I know, Jimmy, you went into the festival business.
Yeah,
as well.
we run festivals for a number of years, and we run sort of smaller things now. But it's
thanks for the invite.
Yeah, you know, you're on it.
We're available next year, by the way.
It's awkward, isn't it?
I just forced you straight into that corridor.
Thanks, mate.
But
you did really successful festivals as well.
Everyone
you invited me loads of times.
Oh, you were there all the time.
I met you there, didn't I?
Loved it. But nothing beats live music, though, does it?
I like the outdoor festivals. It's good. I did a few this year with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and they were great fun.
Even when it rains, everyone's got the flags out, you know. And
well, particularly the type of music that you guys are playing as well, because the loyalty and the fan base for both of you, I mean, it's just tremendous.
Yeah, well, we're lucky, aren't we? Yeah,
very lucky.
Yeah, and the festivals, as I say, you know, everyone, the land of open glory and all that business, you know, it's superb.
So I've got my little bit of apples here, which I'm just stewing down nicely over there. I'll put a little bit of water into here, just to help it along. That'll go in there. I've got my sauce reducing down over here with a cider. We're going to finish it all off. But I said it's all about the pork. And then I'm just going to pass you this pork now, because I'm going to get Lenny to do this and be sort of mum for this one. But we're going to take...
Oh, man. Wowzers.
So, that looks a bit special, doesn't it?
So I'll let you lift the tray off, but this is our...
Goodness me.
This is our roast pork.
Ooh.
Go for it.
But listen. Juices in there, James.
Wow, look at that.
Goodness me.
I mean, there's an amazing chef that I worked with over the years, and I remember him. He's from Sweden. He said, "There's nothing better than the crispy skin of a mammal." Wow. And he sort of looked at me as if he'd just done a lot of bad things in his life. But it was that sort of look at the same time, going, "That's supposed to be aimed at me," or whatever. But anyway, so dive into
like
that,
him.
and then we got our. So you're gonna attack this, Lenny. So
yeah, I'm gonna take the bone out.
Now we talked about your album. Your album's out now.
Yeah.
Give us the name of it. This is your moment to plug, gentlemen.
You'll never guess what it's called.
What's it called?
Christmas with Alden Russell.
Exactly. Oh. Well, I would say I would have a listen to it, but all I've got is this. I got sent through the post. There's no CD in it. There's nothing in it.
Times are hard.
Times are hard.
You've got to pay more for the CD.
Does that come afterwards?
The record
exactly. Anyway, this is it as well. And Jimmy, you've got the fabulous book out celebrating 20 years.
Yep.
Of the farm. So this is everything. What's great about this is that it gives you a whole insight into your life and the stresses and the strains that you've done, about the Russell's about to witness when he turns his love into a farm.
I'm already witnessing it.
Exactly.
Is that where we're singing next year?
Exactly right. You'll be there.
Yeah,
Right. So Lenny,
that is amazing crackling.
Look at that.
Oh. So this is what I love about having a landlord round at the house. You can just dive in and dive into that. We're going to put a little bit of the apple with it. Bit of that. I've got some mashed potato. I'll get the cabbage on. We've got a little bit of the
pork looks amazing.
The pork as well. Now, the great thing about that sort of the salt chamber thing, a lot of people have been, you know, you go online, you see a lot of that about salt-aged beef now and all that kind of stuff. And I've got beef in there. There's a great friend of mine called Gareth Ward who taught me how to put this beef in there. And some of this beef has been in there for 8 months. And then no doubt, these guys will still be here by then.
Yeah.
They can finish off the rest. All right, we've got our mashed potato. So, Lenny, I'm the chef, so I reckon we've got about a minute before service.
OK, let's go then, Chief.
Look at the cabbage. Look at the colour on that cabbage.
So we've got the cabbage.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
We've got the mashed potato.
That mash looks nice.
This is like Christmas at my house. Look at this.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. Eh? Bit of that.
On your left, chef.
Bit of that.
Cool.
So we've got our cabbage. We've got our beautiful bits of cabbage on here, look. You steamed up there, Lenny.
I did steam up a little bit then.
Exactly.
It's right over the thing. That's what I was doing.
So underrated cabbage.
Yeah, I agree.
So this cabbage is unbelievable. So a bit of that.
This crackling's unbelievable. Oh.
But it is nice, and especially that you don't have to do it on the barbecue. That you can just put the cabbage and just put it under the grill, which works really well. And then we're just going to take and finish off our sauce. So this is how you finish off a sauce this Christmas. I'm doing little masterclasses on the way to help you on your run up to Christmas Day. each Saturday. But when you're doing this is a great way to make a little sauce. So you reduce this sauce all down. You can finish off with butter, finish off with seasoning, but also you can freeze this. You can put it in ice cube trays, freeze it, and then pop it out the ice cube trays. You've got a sauce this Christmas Day. It's one less thing to worry about. But as soon as... Listen to that. Listen to that. Listen to that. Listen to that. Yeah, my director's just said, now that's how the tour was just cancelled.
What a way to go.
Both of them got no teeth. So, right, we're just going to serve this now with this lovely little sauce to go over the top. A nice little bit of cider sauce to go with it.
Wow.
So
and there we have it.
Proper pub dish.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is the start of December. It's the start of Christmas. This is the run-up, and what a better way to start than having a few good mates round at the house. And I'm sure you'll agree, all morning this has been great fun. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Best of luck with the tour. Best of luck with the book. Lenny, I'll be around in the pub in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
For a little bit of that fish that you cooked earlier. Yeah. But there you have it. Roast pork. My house with a little bit of hispy cabbage, thanks to my local pub landlord, Lenny. Right then, gentlemen. There we go.
Thank you.
One. Jimmy.
Wow,
Two.
thank you.
Alan.
Thank you, mate.
There you go.
God,
This is like lunch on a farm, isn't it? This.
Fantastic.
There you go.
James.
Dive into that. I'll have a little bit of that. A little bit of that one. Give you a look. There you go.
Yeah,
proper
I've got
knife.
one here,
Proper
mate.
knife.
Oh,
that'll
that'll
do. Chef's knife. There we go.
very
Look at that.
It's the belly.
Happy with that?
So good.
All good?
Oh, amazing.
All good. Can I just say, it's been an absolute pleasure having you at the house today. It's been, and looking at you, that is definitely a boy band of the future.
It is.
It's definitely, there's something in this. We could be roadie caterers.
Yeah, for Saga.
Yeah. Whoa, look at that.
We'll take that any day.
Having said that, when you finish this, we've got the next one, which is just ready to come out of the oven for part 2.
Oh, my Lord.
So these will be leaving in about 3 hours' time. That's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests. Lucy Clayton-Jones, Chef Lenny Carr-Roberts, Lesley Walters, and of course, Jimmy Doherty, Ala Jones, Russell Watson, and my local landlord. Best of luck, guys. Best of luck. How good was that show? We'll see you back same time next Saturday morning. We'll be joined by more chefs, including Tommy Banks, Johnny Lake, the greatest chef in the world at the moment. Bjorn Fransen will be here, and Strictly Come Dancing star Anton de Beek will be at the house as well. Until then, take care, stay safe, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you at my house next Saturday.